Right then, everybody. So today we are going to be discussing different platforms. We were just having a bit of a conversation prior to the recording starting with one of our attendees today, and about where she's going to be sharing one of her latest pieces. So bear with me 1 second while I just get all of this all sorted out so I can share my screen. Obviously, you don't want to be seeing my WhatsApp. No one needs to see that. So let's just do a quick share. Da, 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 da. Forgotten where that is. Honestly, I have a brain like a sieve. If it's not in a book or in a journal, I have no idea what I'm doing. Know your platform. So today it is about writing for different mediums, blogs, reports, social media, and books, and finding what works for you, because you might also want to write for stage and screen. So we really, or even radio. So again, it's about making sure that what you're doing is in the right place. And today, as always, it's going to be hosted by myself, Dawn Bates, reader first, writer, author, coach, and boutique publisher. And so we're going to be looking at how we adapt our message, and should we and how we are fully self-expressed, if we should be fully self-expressed, whether we need to up our game in terms of our vernacular, and whether we need to change our style, get more formal, less formal, and then making sure that we're looking at the tone and where we're going to house our wonderful words. And also making sure that we are getting the right return on investment for what it is that we're doing. So let's get started. And so one of the first things that I came across when I started writing, I've always written, let's be honest. I'll give you a bit of a backstory. So I've always written, whether it's been in my journal, whether it's been for the school newspaper. Why do a lot of us start in the school newspaper? I'm writing poetry for myself and sharing it in birthday cards. I was always the person who wrote a message in a birthday card. It wasn't just happy birthday, love, Dawn. It was a message. Big clue there of what I was going to do in my life. So again, it's about looking at how we've grown. So I've written for newspapers, both local, national, and international. I have written stage plays, and I only remembered that the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, I did that, because we're looking at the Sacral series becoming a stage play, and I had to remember why and how and all of that kind of jazz. But again, it's about making sure that when we're writing, that we are feeling what it is that we're doing, because again, I keep bringing it back to, how do you feel about your writing? How do you feel about the platform you're on? Have they got your audience, and is that audience the one that's going to resonate with you? Because if you don't have the right platform, I mean, we could all go on Facebook. I spent more time in Facebook jail than I spent out of it. Not the right place for me. You know, the stuff I write, it was just too awake, not woke. So again, I kept getting cancelled and my account deleted, very much like my YouTube channel, which I'm pleased to say is still going quite strong at the moment. And again, is LinkedIn for you? Are you looking at more business orientated people that write longer form? Are you going to be looking at something along the lines of Medium or Substack and what have you? And there's so many, and we're going to get onto those. But you need to really understand why those platforms exist. Now, we've seen a huge change in platforms such as X and Bookface, as I call it, since Trump won the elections last year in 2024. We're seeing a lot more. I used to enjoy Book Talk, not Book Talk, Book Twitter on Twitter, but again, a lot of people have left that platform now. They're no longer using that, and it's because the vibration has changed. The energy of Twitter has changed, or sorry, X has changed. Does anyone call it X? And I know that some people have really come away from Facebook because it's no longer something that we resonate to. It's quite toxic in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of people on there that, you know, they're not in a buying mode, they're just in a scrolling mode. And these are not really some of the people that they're not my audience. again, you've got to understand why Facebook came together to bring family and friends from all over the world back together, because we all live in a very transient population now. So what is their why? What is their vibration? And who is their audience? And how does that fit with what it is that you are intending to do? Are we people still on platforms such as Facebook out of habit? Because, oh, that's where my friends are, that's where family members are, but they don't really use it. They go on every now and then. Also, are they really engaging? Most of us, we find that if we're certain friends that are on Facebook, well, they're not really friends, they're just there. It's an easy way to do friendship, isn't it? It's not really an effort-based platform. So again, what's the mindset? Are you just relying on Facebook to keep up to date with your friends rather than actually having an intention to get together for a luncheon or for a night out? How are people using it? And I'm using Facebook just as an example because that's something that we're all pretty aware of. And is the platform that you're using, is it paid or is it free? And I don't just mean for you, for somebody to share your writing. I'm also on about the people who then get to read it, because platforms such as Medium require people to actually pay to read the content that's on there. So these are people that are actually paying to read the content, and some of it is good content, some of it not so much, but it is just writing on there. It's a whole ecosystem of writers. And there are people that are very, very good at writing. And then, like I said, there are people that are not so good, but they're learning. And there's a lot of mentoring that goes on in there. So I'm discovering, I'm still learning about Medium. I'm late to that party. And you also need to look at whether the medium that you're going to use, the platform that you're going to use, is it mixed media? Can you put videos on there? Can you put audio? Is it photography? Is it everything? And can you layer it like Substack? And Patreon was another one that I remember from back in the day. That became quite a big thing, but that's now mainly for artists, I think. So people can have different levels of access to your content. They can pay you. You can actually make a living off platforms such as Substack and Patreon, because you get so many of your fans, and they will pay you £5 a month, and then they get to the next level of your content. They get to pay £20 a month, and so on. So again, how are you and your audience? Are you paying or is it for free? And if you've got all of these different layers, are you going to need to learn new skills? Not just new writing skills, but maybe some video editing or sound editing skills. Maybe you've got to now look at graphic design skills. They're not my skill set. I'm not interested in learning those. I like writing. I take a photo, not always a great one. And if I can add a photo, then great. If not, then I look at some stock photography and I'm like, yeah, I don't really like that stock photography. I'm going to just fine. Go take a random photo of something else. Again, we've got to play to our own strength. Or otherwise we could become a bit of everything for everyone, and we can lead to burnout, and that is not good for you. It's not good for your creativity. It's not good for your productivity. It's not going to bring you the opportunities that you want, and it's actually going to bring you audiences that are not really resonating enough to actually spend their money with you, because ultimately we want to get paid for our writing. We want to get paid for our expertise. We cannot live on fresh air alone. Clothing, regardless of whether we live in a circular economy or not, food and clothing, there's only so much dumpster diving some people can do if that's what you want to do. There's only so much land space you've got to actually grow your veggies and feed your chickens. Again, how many hours in a day are you going to be out in the garden toiling the soil to get your food, or running around after a chicken ready for your Sunday lunch? Again, look at your skill set and how are you going to know whether these platforms are worth it, because they've got to give you an ROI. God, I've got a bit of tongue tied today. I did get enough sleep. Again, looking at, I was just saying, hours in the day, because if we're on every single platform that we're told to be, oh, you've got to be on Facebook, you've got to be on TikTok, you've got to be on you know, Reddit, and you've got to be on this, and it's like, oh my God. Like, I look at platforms like Reddit and my brain fries. I look at my son using Discord. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm not programming. It looks like a program. It looks like he's actually programming a piece of software, but it's not. But that's how his brain works. And that's how he thinks. And that's like, okay, that platform is very techie based. And again, it's like if you've got old content that you can repurpose on a lot of these platforms, such as the newsletters on LinkedIn, you know, are they old articles that you've written? Is there stuff that you can use, snippets that's still relevant today? Like, for example, if you've written a scientific paper, can you use snippets of that or actually post those on LinkedIn to actually bring people? So it might have done really well on ResearchGate, Lonica, but can you actually put that onto LinkedIn? Like put a couple of paragraphs of that with a link to your other articles to actually build up your audience back on ResearchGate, or actually bring more people to read what it is that you're doing. So again, how are you using older content, and how are you building those bridges between your platforms? Because sometimes we think there's so much pressure to be everywhere that we forget to be in here. We forget to be in here. And if we are not in our body, if we are not in our happiness, like I said, we suffer. We cannot be everywhere to everyone. And you know what? If we prefer to show up on LinkedIn rather than Facebook, show up on LinkedIn. If you come out in hives thinking about LinkedIn, and you're a photographer, but you want to write about photography, maybe platforms such as Pinterest and Instagram are the better ones for you. You know, I'm not a very good photographer. My LinkedIn, my Facebook and my Instagram profiles, they used to have about 20,000 people on both of them. I deleted the lot because it was too much. I needed that time for myself. But I was trying to be everywhere for everyone, and it just exhausting. And I'm a lot happier now that I got rid of them all. And what was really interesting, the ones who really liked my content, rather than just scrolling like they scroll through life, followed me to my email list, and they followed me to LinkedIn. And this is the thing about LinkedIn, sorry, about having an email list. They're my pen pals. I call them my pen pals. These are people that have met me around the world. They've been on my old platforms. And the thing is, my email list is my content. That's my real estate. That is somewhere that I get to be all of me in all of my rant or my curiosity or my philosophical. And I don't get banned from my emails. I don't get banned from the platform because it's mine. And when if you are sending out an article, always add in your email, sign up to my email list, or follow me over on your favorite platform. Because then it's that you might realize that somebody's actually on LinkedIn and they've been following you, and they go, oh my God, Dawn's on LinkedIn. How did I not know that? Or it might be, oh God, Dawn's got an email list. Oh, she offers so much other content on her email list. Like, I have a rant every now and then. I give people insights into my day. I give people, like when we had, what was it? Guy Fawkes night. I wrote about Guy Fawkes. Like, if I'd have known the people here in Cardiff love Guy Fawkes and like fireworks, I think I'd have moved here years ago. And so I gave people some history of Guy Fawkes, because most people think that the British celebrate Guy Fawkes because we're celebrating the failed assassination of a monarch. We're not really. We're actually celebrating the fact that somebody got into the House of Commons and blew it up. Anarchy at its finest, power to the people. That's what we're celebrating. And we're also celebrating the fact that we can set things off and go, ooh, eat candy apples and baked potatoes from the fire and lots of marshmallows. I digress, but I don't, because when I'm in my email, I get to show up as Dawn. It's like the person, the human, the one who struggles, the one who has these moments of, oh, I think I'm right about that today. I get to share with people what challenges I've got and how I've overcome them. And that is different to the content that's in my book. So it's different to the content that's on my new newsletters on LinkedIn. And so when people read about all of, they get to see and feel Dawn in a whole other way. And it actually builds deeper bonds, and you actually build a lot bigger audience because people are really connected to you, and you realize that your book sales go up, which is really nice because people go, oh, actually, I didn't know about that. I think I might go and buy that book, because in your email list, you can put lots of different things that you want people to know about. Can't really do that on some platforms. So know where you can show up and where you can be celebrated for all of who you are. Now, dun, 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 dun. We're not going to do Adita Von Teese, although she's absolutely fabulous. One of the things that I hear a lot is how we've all got attention deficit, how none of us read anymore. We've got a less than a 2-minute attention span. I call bullshit on that. We do not have a 2-minute 2-minute attention span, but we have been told that by the social media platforms so that so we can actually we can keep posting lots and lots of content. People do read books. People have attention spans that last for hours. The thing is, the attention span is dedicated to a movie, or it's done to gardening, or they spend hours cooking. People do have attention spans that last for a lot longer than the 2 minutes. Remember, the people that are telling you something, including me, question everything, question me. Everything I'm sharing with you, you have to question. I encourage it. And if there's anything that you find in any of my presentations, which you feel there's a disconnect with, or there's an inaccuracy, tell me. It means I've learned something. But these 2 minutes that people say, oh, well, you've got to strip it right back. You're only allowed 146 characters. That was just so that people would use Twitter. That's where it came from. Then you've got, oh, like, well, Facebook only wanted you to post this much, and then Instagram only wanted you to post this much, because they wanted more photos, because that is their medium. And again, it's like, if they're telling you that you've only got 2 minutes, then you're actually starting to believe something that's not true about yourself. Oh, I can't remember. No, you can remember, but you're just getting into a cycle, a bad habit of regurgitating things that are being told to you over and over again on social media platforms or in the media. It's not true. It's not relevant to you. Return to sender. Those 3 words, return to sender, apply to everything. Any belief system or any value system or any idea or judgment or things that doesn't apply to you. Return to sender. It's not mine. It doesn't belong with me. It doesn't belong in my space. So there we go. And remember, when you're writing on these different platforms, Facebook, again, I'm going to use Facebook. Facebook is, like I said, it's mainly for people sharing pictures of their food and their children going to school and their nights out and, things like that. And then you've got like business groups that are on there, and they've got like these. But you tend to find with a lot of groups on Facebook, people just go in and they just spam. They're like, yeah, here's my book. Oh, here's my offer. And there's no real community going on. It's the person sharing everything, and you get to choose. If you really want to build something, if you really want to build those relationships, and you really want to be able to use the terminology of your industry or of your papers, you need to find the right platform. If you're going to be going on all of these platforms, and if I started talking in all of my legal speak on platforms such as I don't know, let's say, what's that one, Pinterest, would people really be interested? Is that where the legal people are? Probably not. They're probably on Pinterest looking for home furnishings. Know where your audience is. And again, is the audience that you're reaching on that platform because when you're writing a book, sometimes you have to consider, and when I say characters, and I want to bring this out, when I say characters, I do mean both in non-fiction and in fiction. So in non-fiction, your characters could be a journey or a case study or a lesson or a model so that's what I mean when I refer to characters within nonfiction. It could be nonfiction in memoirs, that can be, but again, if you've got I remember being at a reading group recently, and this woman was criticizing this one particular book because it was very, very jargony. And then I read the blurb and I was like, well, of course it's going to be really jargony. The main character is somebody who works in quantum science. So there's going to be a lot of quantum science references within this book. But she was also she also had a keen interest in philosophy. So if you've got somebody who's very keen on quantum physics and the quantum realm, or that's also really into philosophy, you're pretty much guaranteed that there's going to be a lot of terminology from all of those in there. It's going to be quite a high level thinking, critical thinking kind of book. So your blurbs are really important, people. And again, it's like if you are going to be writing about those subjects, how are you getting it out there for the masses? Like as you probably see, well, you probably, I don't know if you can, but up there I've got books on chaos theory. I've got books up on there on the fifth miracle, on the quantum realm, and like neurons on and the missing neutrinos. You know, like I read those books, but I know that they're in popular science because anything more than popular science, my brain kind of melts. But the knowledge transfer is transforming my view so that I can transcend. And those are the three words that we want to be looking at. How are we transferring our knowledge or our passion or our ideas so that we can transform our reader so that they can transcend to the next level? And I've realized I've got a really lovely spelling mistake. Weird. I think that must be my Welsh influence now. I'm learning Welsh. Brain typing, brain working quicker than my fingers are typing. So we've got where are your people, but it's not where, it's whoo-wee. So there we go. Where are your people? Where are they going to be reading? So I broken it down here. So we've got the usual suspects. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Creatures of habit hang out there. They're the old things. They've been around for, quite a long time, but you tend to find that a lot of innovators head on over to that platform that I was saying called Substack. I've seen a lot of people in the tech industry and the finance industry using Substack. In Substack, most people think it's just for newsletters, but it's not. You can add videos in there. You can add audio files in there. You can add polls and surveys and payment links and courses. Substack has evolved so dramatically that I think you actually do need to have a full-on training course just to be able to use it now. It's a bit like MailChimp. You need a marketing degree to use MailChimp. I tend to use MailerLite or Go High Level now. Again, so writers tend to hang out in Medium. People that are doing science, as our lovely Lonica knows, use ResearchGate and places like that. Reddit tends to be more for your techies and people under 45. Discord, like I said with my son, very niche tech and gaming. Legal Eagles tend to hang out at LexBlog, or you can actually create your own community. So this is where I really would encourage you as a writer to have. So have one of the usual suspects, looking at, those, and it might be, like I said, you might have, if you're a book illustrator, you might have Pinterest and Instagram and those others. But again, it's like if you're on there, bring people into your own community. Have you got something like Circle? I'm a member of the Royal Society of Arts and the Moment Institute. Moment Institute is for narrative coaching. RSA is for people around the world, like the Royal Society of Arts. There's also an eco circle that I'm in. These are just really bespoke communities by larger organizations where we get together and we look at narrative coaching. We look at how that impacts us as a coach, how we can become better, etc., etc. That's on a platform called Circle. Most of us will have heard of School by now. And again, with these, you actually need to, and with Go High Level, Go High Level is more of a CRM system where you can do all your emails, you can do your courses on there, you can do your database, your financing, your social media planning. Go High Level is a no-brainer. And for Circle, School, Go High Level, and Mighty Networks, you do actually have to pay for a monthly subscription for those. So it really does depend on how you're going to be. The good thing about using school is that if you're members of a group and other members within that community that you're in, they're in another kind of group, or you can actually find other groups that are related to what it is you're in, or that another member of the community that you get along with, they're in that community. So it might be something that can help propagate and allow for additional marketing. Circle, you actually have to be given a link by the organization that you're part of for you to join that circle. And Mighty Networks, I don't really know much about it. It just didn't resonate with me. Again, the vibrational frequency, go high level, you can brand it up to yourself, and it's all in one place. So make sure that you create your own community, you create your own platform. It's your real estate. And that is where you and your raving fans and your community and your readers and your fellow writers or your team can hang out together. Because remember, like if you've got your team in there, they can offer your readers or your clients can get to know each other, and then they know who to go to when they need something within the organization. Because remember, as authors and as writers, we are really building an organization, because we have to know about our contracts, we have to know about marketing, we have to know about our accounts, we have to know everything, every aspect of business when we're a writer. It doesn't matter what we're writing. It doesn't matter if we're published by a Big Four publisher or an indie house. We have to know the business of being in business, even if it's the basics. And that's why I differ from a lot of other people, because I bring to my authors 27 years of entrepreneurship. And that's one of the biggest difference, other than the fact that I've lived and worked in 44 countries. So making sure that you have got the right people on your team is absolutely essential. As I was saying here, never underestimate your own real estate, because when you're on those other platforms, you have to abide by their rules. If you're a rule breaker like me, or you find that smart people don't follow stupid rules, or you don't agree to certain guidelines, or you didn't even realize that the thing you had written had broken a community guideline, you know, they can take you down. They can delete you. They can delete all of your content. They can delete all of your contacts. But if it's your own community, if it's your own platform, like your own website, it's yours. They can't take you down. They cannot delete your content. They cannot tell you you infringed on their community guidelines. You are free to be your full entire self, and you can showcase your intellect, your brilliance, your style, your vernacular. You get to be you, and you get to write and show up in the way that is what works for you. Now, the other thing is, if there is somebody, so one of the things I don't like about LinkedIn, let's say, is because if somebody has attended an event that you have attended, even if you didn't know them, or they have been in a group that you didn't know, that they were in that group, and this is somebody, you've got to look at your safety, because depending on what you're writing about, so whether it's for such as myself, if you're writing about government politics, if you're writing about trauma, if you're writing about something that goes against the mainstream narrative, or an ideology, or what have you, if you are writing about that, someone can actually join a group that you're part of on a social media platform. With platforms such as Facebook and Instagram, you can just block them. You can ping them away. Nothing happens. But on platforms such as LinkedIn, you can't block them unless they have infringed LinkedIn's community guidelines. Now, they may not have attacked you publicly or sent you an abusive message, but this could be somebody in your life that was part of an abuse or part of a protest that's actually quite dangerous for you for them to see you or have access to you. But if they are part of it, if they've joined a group or they've attended an event that you have also, you are not safe on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn community guidelines means that they cannot be blocked. I've had this conversation with LinkedIn many times, but again, this is why it's so important to have your own real estate. Like I said, it could be your own blog, it could be your own community, and you get to show up, because then if you want to be really, so for example, if you have very conservative views, as opposed to very liberal views, then you are safe in your own community, you're safe on your own website. You can use different languages. So for example, on my website, and it wasn't until someone pointed this out, that I've actually got, there's one page on my website where I've said, come on, let's go, vamos, yolla, which, you know, is using my Spanish and my Arabic. Again, it's for self-expression, and you can actually, you can use language as you see it. If you are somebody who has if you have a style of writing that some people misinterpret, so for example, if you, like myself, you've got a cheeky sense of humor that not a lot of people understand, or some people take themselves a bit too seriously, and or they're somebody who choose to get offended, we're seeing this a lot, then you have the opportunity on your own platform or on certain platforms to be whoever you are. Now, Reddit, I've been looking into that because my eldest son's on Reddit, and I've had him explain to me, because it's got subreddits and this Reddit and that Reddit, and you know, and that, but there seems to be it seems to be more liberal, more open-minded, and we kind of looked at it because when you look at X, you tend to find that people on X are slating people on Reddit and vice versa. And again, it's like these platform wars. And there's a lot of angry hatred appearing on X at the moment. Whether that is just because I ended up clicking on a certain article, which I thought was quite shocking, but I was like, oh my God, I need that viewpoint for one of my books. And this is the thing with us as writers, depending on what platform we're on, and why we're using it. Because if we're using a platform for research, so for example, I know that Elon Musk loves to quote the Daily Mail. I mean, goodness gracious, I wouldn't even, as my mother says, I wouldn't wipe my ass with that paper. But it's such a nasty paper. It's so bigoted. It's so, well, anyway. But Elon Musk really likes it because it fuels his agenda. It makes him feel right about, or you know, it suits him. And then you're seeing that because there's a lot of racial hatred within the Daily Express and the Daily Mail of the British tabloids. And again, it's like looking at if you're researching something, do you just need to be on that platform for a short period of time? You know, do you need to ask questions on there to do some research? If you're going to comment on there, be careful of some of the backlash that you're going to get. I was doing some research on Twitter recently, and I was told, you know, well, I hope you get raped and blah, 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 and all of this, because I was like, wow, all I did was like disagree with something. And you've got to be prepared for people, because we believe in full self-expression of ourselves, then we have to believe in full self-expression of other people. And we all know that not everybody knows how to have a respectful, intelligent dialogue. So again, freedom of full oh my gosh, it's like I've got false teeth in or something today. Freedom of full self-expression and brilliance works both ways. And there's something that Mark Twain used to say, never argue with an idiot. They'll beat you on experience and bring you down to their level. They might think they're being brilliant. Chances are idiots are not really that brilliant. That's why they're called an idiot. I mean, I don't like the word idiot, and I don't like the word stupid, because again, distance traveled, life circumstances and all of that jazz. But again, if we are going to go on there, we're going to create a platform where we believe in freedom of full self-expression, and we have members show up, we're actually giving them the freedom of full self-expression. And if that is one of our guidelines, then we have to be very careful how we vet those who join our community. And if we're in a group that says, because this is one of the guidelines that I find, if we're sharing our writing and one of our characters, as a colleague of mine shared a piece of writing, and her book was discussing one of the narratives at the moment. One character was all for it, one character was against it. She shared a piece of writing just to see how people felt about it, and what could be added. And the community she was in said that what she had posted was hate speech, even though the two characters were both fictional characters having a very fictional conversation. So if you're writing something or you're sharing something and there is a sensitive Susan out there, you just got to be careful. You really have. It baffles me. It really does that we've got to this point. I used to think that a level of maturity in adulthood meant that we could actually agree to disagree, but obviously not in today's world. The other great thing about creating your own community, as I mentioned, is that you can have these integrations where you can actually add your courses, you can add your calendars, your payments, and your work can flow very easily, especially if you've got somebody like Tai, who helps me on a daily basis, don't you, Tai? Oh my God, she's my sanity check daily. So is Khalid. So, well, all my team are. But again, it's about making sure that the platform you're on is working for you and for your writing. It's not just enough to make sure that you've written the right vocabulary. It's about your freedom of voice. Now, I'm a voice for the voiceless, and I love bringing voices together, and I like connecting people. And this is one of the reasons why I like LinkedIn, because a lot of people that I'm connected with, most people I'm connected with on LinkedIn, very highly intelligent people. We can actually have a conversation about things that I could never have on other platforms. There's also a lot of researchers on there. There are a lot of press on there. There are lots of CEOs, people running their own businesses, people that are activists on there. It's probably one of the safest social media platforms, even though I can't just block somebody. But it is one of my traction, and also their algorithms might not, bump me up a bit. But then if I started getting hundreds of thousands of likes, I'd probably be dumbing myself down, because remember, regardless of what your platform is, the engagement, we don't need to be playing into vanity metrics, because there's a lot of my posts that don't get a lot of engagement, but messaging has come through. And again, it's that interaction. Yes, it's great to have them read. It's great to have the impressions rising. But again, what's the return on investment? Are you getting people showing up for you? Are you getting your readers buying your books? Yesterday, I jumped on a call with a lady who I did a manuscript assessment with, and then she surprised me by, she surprised me. She bought one of my books, and I was like, "Oh my God, she bought one of my books!" And then she showed me that she bought one of my other clients' books, which was really lovely. And again, she's invested. She's bought into me. She's bought into my knowledge. She's bought into my energy. She's bought into my dawness. Highly intelligent, but really quite daft a lot of the time. Because why would you take yourself too seriously? Life's too short. But again, you've got to make sure that what you're doing and what you're creating and where you're showing up is actually worth your time and effort. And it is going to take time. I'm ahead of myself here. Or I'm a bit slow on my slides today. Again, are your referrals incoming? I remember there's a really fabulous chap called Pete, who I'm doing another book with. He read my book Wallahi because I mentioned brand expansion. So he went and bought my book and he read it, and then he referred other people to me. Again, LinkedIn is a great referral network. Not so much on Facebook, not so much on LinkedIn. I meant Instagram. And again, if you're going to be writing, are you going to be writing for the people who are regulating your industry? Are you going to be writing for schools? Are you going to be writing for a university publication? Are you going to be writing for journals or essay collections such as Granter, love Granter. Again, look at some of these platforms, look at some of these organizations. Are you going to be getting in with some of the literary festivals and actually writing some of their copy in their magazines? Are you going to be writing the marketing material if that is something that you have a skill in? Are you attending these literary events and festivals? Because when you attend them, you get to network with obviously other writers and other people within the publishing industry. You get to share your love of books with other readers. And a lot of the time when you attend literary festivals, you do end up walking away with a lot of books if you're like me, probably far too many books if that's such a thing. But because you're there and you're stood next to someone who's choosing the same book or contemplating the same book as you strike up a conversation, and hey presto, you end up talking to somebody who might actually be the in for you into an organization or a massive opportunity. Again, join your professional networks such as the Society of Author or the Authors Guild. These are invaluable. Sometimes with the Royal Society of Arts, we get to write articles for them, and it gets shared in their newsletters, it gets shared on their platforms, other members see it. Again, get your writing out there. If you are somebody who cannot switch off and writing, you have to write every single day, like me. You have to write, you have to get it out there. And there are so many places to do that. Your local newspaper or your regional newspaper, always looking for stories. How can you write for them? Their online version, their in print versions. People are always looking for content. There's a couple of hashtags that you might want to make a note of. Harrow, help a reporter out. It might be that you can send them an article that you've written and they might use it for research. How are you helping people? Journal request, if you want people to see your article that you've written, hashtag journal request. These are some of the things that you could be using to actually get your writing seen. And if you're going to use Harrow and journal request, the best two platforms for those at the moment are LinkedIn and Twitter at the moment. Who knows what it'll be tomorrow. And there we go, I've got ahead of myself again. Really, I'm on it today. So yeah, enter competitions. Again, libraries, local libraries. Do they put together a local publication? Does your university do a yearbook, and is there a faculty get-togethers that you can actually write, or get a profile in the newsletter, or can you write to them? I know that Lani, who wrote Standing in Strength with me, she is coming to Ireland, so I should be going to see her soon. But she wrote to her faculty, her old university, and told them that she'd got the book out. She had a huge spread in their faculty magazine and online, and a feature on their website. So again, write to your old university or your local university if that's different. Again, you can get your writing seen everywhere and you can get paid for it. We are seeing a huge rise in all of these pay-to-play magazines, and have a front page cover, pay £2,500 and we'll showcase your writing. If you want me on the front of your magazine, you've got to really be a magazine that is going to serve me. There's no shame and there's no harm in paying for a cover feature. A lot of people do it. And advertorials have been around for a very long time. So if you truly believe in what it is that you're writing, and you truly believe that publication can get you where you need to be, then really do consider investing the money in having a full page spread in there or a featured article. You'll find that is a great way for you to get seen by other new industry publications, and then you'll have the mainstream ones such as Harper's or Vogue or Psychology's, Entrepreneur, Time magazine. They'll sometimes approach you. So don't be afraid of investing in yourself, because where your money goes, where your attention goes and money goes, that's where you will get. The more you invest in yourself, the more that you will get back. There are a lot of people that refuse to invest in themselves. There are some people that will just keep taking all the freebies, and they never get anywhere, and they never get much further. So the more, even if it's a small amount that you invest each time, smaller increments, maybe you can do a pay what you can. Talk to people. If you need the help from somebody, talk to them. They're more likely give you an opportunity in their publication or in their organization. The only thing, as I say, that's stopping you is you, and you've just got to keep persevering, because there's a lot of people who think that they're writers, but there's also a lot of fantastic writers out there that are unheard of because they give up. Never give up. If you know that what you have to say is important, keep going, keep believing in yourself, and reach out to people, ask them for help, because you will find those people that will help you. And that is it from me today. So, oh, it's not actually, is it? Because I have to share. I always forget this bit. You know, I am in business for a reason, aren't I? If you would like to have 45 minutes with me, where I am a little bit more focused, do book an author's You Can Book Me session, where we can go over am I sharing my screen? I don't know if I'm sharing my screen. Am I sharing my screen, Tayi? No, I'm not. So here we go. If you would like to spend some time with me, where I'm a little bit more focused, you can actually see that there are some opportunities to book in with me. I think the 11th, we've only got one at 11 on Wednesdays. Thursdays, I've got 3. When's that? That's next week. For those of you who, I mean, on Monday, God, that's not, honestly, I do work. I do. So if you would like to have a session with me where we get to talk about your book, we get to talk about your journey, what's going to be useful for you. If you're looking for an agent, if you're looking for a particular kind of publisher, then do book a session with me, and that's authors.youcanbook.me. And the link will be in the video links and in the emails. And if you are, I don't know if you'll be able to see this page, but if you'd like to do a book anthology, something the way you don't want to write the whole book, but you want to bring yourself and some colleagues together, or people that are in a group together, and you want to actually do a book anthology, this could be something. You know, you only have to do 7,500 words, up to 10 of you when you work with DBI, Dawn Bates International, and that way you can split the cost of publishing. But it means that you'll also have the opportunity to work on other people's platforms, and get your message out further. So that might be an opportunity for you. We are still working on the Dawn Bates, the DBI Author Academy. We have just switched over to, we're migrating all of our data over to the Go High Level platform. And because we've had a bit of an idea, and we're going to be running with that. And it's going to be of service to all of our authors that really do want to start building their own CRM system. So watch this space, people. But yeah, that's it from me today. I've said a lot today. I've realized that. So if you would like to spend some time with me where I'm umming and ahhing and going off on tangents, but also being very brilliant and very, very informed, then book a session with me, and I'll see you next week. And if you like what you see here, then please do share with others, tag others, and invite them along to next week or future weeks. We will be back next week. I feel like I'm a newsreader. So that's it. Good night from him and good night from her, whoever they are. But that was the 2 Ronnies. And if you're in Britain, you'll know who I'm on about. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.